These are the only 3 houseplant care hacks you need to have a thriving houseplant in your home. And if you follow these care hacks, I guarantee you'll have a stunning plant in your home in no time. The 3 most important aspects to plant health that we need to get right is light, water and nutrients. These 3 hacks ensure that these 3 key elements are taken care of so that your plant can thrive. Let's begin. The first hack on my list is one that most people don't realise they can do, but it's a fantastic little hack provided you have some outdoor space, and that is to put your houseplants outside during the summer. We tend to forget that houseplants are just plants that naturally live outside and that we humans have brought them in to live in our homes. But putting your houseplants outside during the summer is probably one of the best things you can do for your plants. This is because nature does a much better job of looking after its plants than we ever could. Firstly, if we put our plants outside, they'll have access to rainwater, which has lots of benefits to plants compared to tap water. Some plants can be sensitive to hard water, which means we may have to flush through the salt and mineral buildups in the soil if we live in a hard water area. Our plants being watered through the rain negates this. Rainwater also contains nitrogen that is readily available for plants to use, and your houseplant will really love that. Rainwater will also clean the dust and dirt that has accumulated on the plant whilst it has been living in your home, which means it will be able to better photosynthesize and store energy more efficiently. Keeping your plants outside in the summer will also give them the level of humidity they need to thrive. So our homes tend to have less humidity than the great outdoors. Just keep an eye on the watering of your plant because it will be in a warmer environment than in your home, so it's likely to dry out a little quicker if the rains aren't forthcoming. The plants will also benefit from increased air circulation, which means that the plant will become sturdier and be better able to keep fungus and rot away. A benefit that your plant will love is better access to natural light. So even if we have our plants in a really bright spot in our homes, it really doesn't compare to the level of light it will receive outside without a ceiling hanging over it. The increased natural light will really encourage much stronger growth on the plant, and by the end of the summer you'll see a plant that is much bigger and bushier. You will also probably see some of your plants push out flowers that wouldn't be possible indoors. Just make sure to place your plants in the shade and never in direct sun because your plants won't be used to the harsh light of direct sun. Also, make sure you wait until nighttime temperatures outside are consistently above 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, because most of our houseplants are tropical plants and will suffer if we put them out in the cold. Also, you just want to keep an eye on them just to make sure they are doing well and they're not going limp because it's not warm enough. At the end of summer, when you bring your plant back indoors, you do just want to check that there are no pests present on the plants, so do inspect the foliage of the plant for things like mealybugs and spider mites. If you do see a bug presence, then just make sure you treat the plant before bringing it back inside. The soil composition of your plants is really important in making sure your plants are able to take up enough water and nutrients to feed its growth during the growing season. My next hack, therefore, is using perlite as an additive to the soil of your houseplants. Adding perlite to potting soil creates a nice light and airy soil that increases drainage and makes for healthier roots. Your plant's roots do not like sitting in wet soil. This leads to root rot and damage, and increasing drainage in the soil means that the soil does not retain too much water. Roots also benefit from having as much oxygen around them as possible, and adding perlite to soil achieves this. Perlite is a super light volcanic rock that increases air around the roots when added to soil. So I use about 4 or 5 parts compost and 2 parts perlite for my plants, and all my plants seem really happy. You don't want your plants just sitting in compost, as this will be too dense for the plant's roots and growth will be inhibited. This impacts the plant's ability to take up nutrients through the soil, so you'll eventually have an unhappy plant. Getting the watering right for your plant is one of the most important things you need to get right with your plant alongside lighting. The problem is that getting the watering right for our plants can seem a bit like a dark art. It can be really difficult to tell when our plants need water or whether they already have plenty of water in the soil. This is particularly true if you're a beginner plant parent. This leads us to either underwatering or overwatering our plants, which are both unhealthy and can lead to long-term problems for our plants. The number one plant killer I see is overwatering. You do not want your plant to consistently sit in wet soil. Otherwise, this will lead to rot on the roots and eventually plant death. Likewise, continually putting your plant through long periods of drought really harms the roots of your plant, and this will lead to tissue damage on the plant's leaves. So what's the best way to tell how wet the soil of your plant is? Well, you can use your finger and insert it 2 or 3 inches deep into the soil and feel how moist the soil is. But a better way is to invest a small amount of money in a moisture meter. A moisture meter, like the one I have, is a fairly cheap little device that requires no batteries that tells you exactly how moist the soil of your plant is. It's far more reliable than using your finger. This completely removes the feeling of doubt and gives you confidence when watering your plant. All you need to do is insert the probe into the soil, and it tells you if the soil is wet, moist or dry, and only when it reads dry do I water my plant. Allowing your plant to dry out in between watering mimics the natural environment in the tropics, where the plant might not get a rain for a couple of weeks and then it gets a big drink from a large rain shower. Mimicking nature is the best thing we can do for our plants and really help your plant thrive. So I've got an Amazon link for the moisture meter that I use in the description if you wanted to get one yourself. To really make sure you are looking after your plants correctly, you not only need these essential 3 hacks, but you also need to make sure you are not making common bad habits that destroy your plant's health. So watch this video here, where I go over 10 of the most common bad habits we make that kill our houseplants. I'll see you there, and thanks for watching.